Day 8. The Caravan. The morning sun casts long shadows across the frost-covered village as you report for duty. Grimbold, his brow furrowed with concern, greets you with a sense of urgency. "We have a critical task for you today," he says, his voice grave. "A caravan carrying vital supplies for the winter festival is due to arrive this afternoon. They'll be carrying food, medicine, and other necessities we can't afford to lose." He pauses, his gaze fixed on yours. "Bandit activity has been on the rise lately. We suspect they might be targeting this caravan. Your mission is to intercept them before they reach the village and ensure their safe passage." Grimbold hands you a map marked with the caravan's route and a heavy silver ring bearing his family crest. "This will identify you to the caravan guards," he explains. "Show them the ring and they'll know you're there to help." You set off with a determined stride, the weight of responsibility settling upon your shoulders. As you follow the caravan's path, your eyes scan the surrounding landscape, alert for any signs of an ambush. The road winds through the rolling hills and dense thickets, offering numerous hiding spots for would-be attackers. You take note of several potential ambush sites. The narrow pass, a tight defile between two rocky outcrops, offering a choke point where bandits could easily block the caravan's progress. Scratches on the rocks and broken branches hint at recent activity. The Hidden Grove, a secluded clearing just off the main road, concealed by a thick curtain of evergreen trees. The remnants of a campfire and scattered animal bones suggest a temporary encampment. The overhanging cliff, a treacherous stretch of road where the path hugs a steep cliff face. Loose rocks and unstable ground could easily be dislodged to create a landslide, trapping the caravan below. Though you find no immediate signs of bandits, the potential for danger is palpable. You continue your journey, your senses heightened, your hand resting on the hilt of your weapon. As the afternoon sun begins to dip towards the horizon, you spot the caravan in the distance. A long line of wagons creaks along the road, escorted by a contingent of armed guards. You quicken your pace, eager to make contact and assess the situation. Upon your approach, the caravan guards immediately react, forming a protective circle around the wagons. Their leader, a grizzled veteran with a wary expression, steps forward, his hand resting on the pommel of his sword. "Hold there, stranger," he commands. "State your business." You raise your hands in a gesture of peace, displaying Grimbold's ring prominently. "I come on behalf of the village guard," you announce. "Captain Grimbold sent me to ensure your safe passage." The guard's eyes narrow as he examines the ring. "Grimbold's seal," he mutters, a hint of suspicion lingering in his voice. "Why would he send a lone guard to meet us? This could be a trick." You explain the concerns about bandit activity and your mission to scout the road ahead. You describe the potential ambush sites you discovered, emphasizing the need for vigilance. The guard listens intently, his expression gradually softening. "Well, you seem to know what you're talking about," he admits. "But I'll be keeping a close eye on you. One wrong move and you'll be facing my blade." He gestures towards the caravan. "We appreciate the warning. We'll be on our guard. You're welcome to join us for the rest of the journey. Strength in numbers, as they say." As the caravan slowly makes its way along the road, you fall into step beside the caravan leader, a seasoned warrior named Torwin. He eyes you cautiously, but a hint of respect has replaced the initial suspicion. "So, you're from the village, eh?" Torwin asks, his voice gruff but curious. "Been a guard long?" You tell him about your recent training in Eldoria and your return to the village to take up your post. You mention the tragic events of the past few days and the encounter with the Bramblefang. Torwin nods sympathetically. "Aye, those creatures are a menace," he says, shaking his head. "We've had a few run-ins with them ourselves. Nasty pieces of work." He gestures towards the guards surrounding the caravan. "That's why we're always prepared. We've got a good mix of fighters and archers here. We can handle ourselves in a scrap." The conversation turns to the upcoming winter festival, a welcome distraction from the grim realities of the road. You inquire about the goods they're carrying, and Torwin's eyes light up with pride. "We've got everything you could possibly need for a proper celebration," he boasts. "Fine wines from the south, spices from the east, toys and trinkets for the children. We even managed to secure a shipment of those fancy Eldorian candles everyone's raving about." He lowers his voice conspiratorially. "And between you and me, we've got a few surprises tucked away in the back. Special deliveries for some of the village's more discerning clientele." As you approach the overhanging cliff, the landscape takes on a more ominous feel. The road narrows, the cliff face looming above, casting long shadows across the path. You recall the potential for a landslide here, the unstable ground a constant threat. This is a treacherous spot, you warn Torwin, pointing towards the loose rocks and fissures in the cliff face. We need to be extra vigilant here. Torwin nods in agreement. Aye, this is where we lost a wagon a few years back. Rockslide came out of nowhere, buried the poor driver and his horses. He raises his voice, addressing the guards. Eyes sharp, lads. Watch for any movement on the cliff. And keep those wagons close together. No straggling. The caravan proceeds cautiously, the guards' eyes scanning the cliff face for any signs of danger. The tension is palpable, the silence broken only by the creaking of wagon wheels and the occasional nervous cough. A collective gasp arises from the caravan as the rocks clatter down the mountainside. Horses whinny nervously, and hands instinctively reach for weapons. You exchange a worried glance with Torwin, your eyes scanning the cliff face for any sign of an attacker. But then a collective sigh of relief sweeps through the caravan. Perched halfway up the cliff, a majestic mountain goat observes the commotion with an air of indifference. Its presence confirms that the rockfall was a natural occurrence, not a deliberate act of sabotage. Torwin chuckles, wiping a bead of sweat from his brow. Seems like even the mountains itself wants to join the festivities, he jokes, attempting to lighten the mood. Well, that's one less thing to worry about. He claps you on the shoulder, a grin spreading across his face. Good eye, lad. You've got a keen sense of danger. Grimbold chose well sending you with us. The caravan continues its journey, the tension easing as the overhanging cliff recedes into the distance. The sun dips below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. The air grows colder, but the warmth of the camaraderie fills the growing darkness. As the first stars begin to twinkle in the night sky, you share stories and laughter with the caravan guards around a crackling campfire. The shared experience of facing potential danger has forged a bond between you, a sense of unity in the face of uncertainty. The journey continues, the village lights twinkling in the distance like beacons of hope. The winter festival awaits, a celebration of resilience and community spirit, a testament to the enduring strength of the human heart. The next morning, you continue towards the village. Ah, the hidden grove, Torwin says with a wistful sigh, his eyes twinkling with mischief. Brings back memories, that place does. He leans closer, lowering his voice conspiratorically. Grimbold and I, we were quite the pair when we were lads, always getting into scrapes, testing the limits. He chuckles, a deep rumble in his chest. One time, we decided a prank on old man Hemwick, the beekeeper. He was a grumpy sort, always yelling at us for getting too close to his hives. Torwin's grin widens. So we hatched a plan. We found a wasp nest, a big one, mind you, and carefully moved it to the roof of his shed. Then we waited. He pauses for dramatic effect, his eyes gleaming with the memory. Hemwick came out, unsuspecting, and bam! He bumped the nest, and those wasps swarmed him something fierce. Torwin burst into laughter, the sound echoing throughout the twilight. He was running around swatting at the air, yelling like a banshee. We couldn't stop laughing, even though we knew we were in for it when he caught us. He shakes his head, a hint of remorse in his voice. Looking back, it was a bit cruel, I suppose. But we were young and foolish. Hemwick, bless his soul, he never found out it was us, though he did give us a wide berth after that. The story brings a smile to your face, a welcome reminder of the carefree days of youth. Even amidst the dangers and uncertainties of the present, the memory of shared laughter and youthful mischief offers a comforting sense of connection and nostalgia. Torwin, you say, your voice serious. I'm particularly worried about the narrow pass. It's the perfect spot for an ambush. You describe the signs of recent activity you observed, the scratches on the rocks, the broken branches, and emphasize the need for caution. Torwin nods, his expression hardening. You're right, we'll be ready for them. He barks orders to his guards, instructing them to reinforce the rear of the caravan and keep a watchful eye on the surrounding cliffs. As the caravan enters the narrowest point of the pass, a sudden shout shatters the quiet. Out of the way! This is a robbery! Round 1. The first volley of crossbow bolts catches the rear guard off guard. One bolt thuds into a wagon's side, splintering wood. Another grazes the guard's arm, drawing a cry of pain. The third bolt, however, finds its mark, striking a guard squarely in the chest. He stumbles backward, clutching the wound, his face contorted in pain. A group of 4 bandits burst from behind the rocks on the right flank, weapons drawn and eyes gleaming with greed. They move with surprising agility, targeting the last 2 wagons in the caravan, which carry the most valuable goods. The caravan guards, though surprised, quickly rally. They draw their swords and shields, preparing to defend the wagons. Shouts and the clang of steel fill the narrow pass as the bandits charge forward, scimitars flashing in the fading light. The bandits press their advantage, their initial volley throwing the rear guard into disarray. Bandits 1 and 3, emboldened by their successful strikes, scramble onto the back of the rearmost wagon. With a vicious kick and a snarling threat, they shove the terrified driver from his seat, sending him tumbling into the road. Bandits 2 and 4, scimitars gleaming, charge towards the remaining guard, their intent clear: seize control of the wagon and its valuable cargo. The guard raises his shield, bracing for the onslaught, but he is outnumbered and outmaneuvered. The fate of the caravan hangs in the balance. You must act swiftly. Do you lose an arrow or bolt? Rush to the guard's aid. If you lose an arrow or bolt, continue to round 2. If you rush to the guard's aid, continue to round 4. Round 2. You take aim at one of the bandits attempting to commandeer the wagon, hoping to disrupt their plans and buy time for the guards. To hit a bandit thug, roll a d20. If you're playing Elira, you need to roll 7 or higher. If you succeed, the bandit takes 1d8 plus 2 damage. Lysander needs to roll a 5 or higher. If you succeed, the bandit takes 1d8 plus 3 damage. The remaining guard fights with desperate fury, his sword clashing against the bandit's scimitars. The guard manages to land a solid blow on Bandit 2. The guard's blow against Bandit 2 lands with a satisfying clang, dealing 6 slashing damage. Bandit 2 staggers back, his snarl turning into a grimace of pain. However, he is overwhelmed by Bandit 4's relentless attacks, his shield splintering under the onslaught. Meanwhile, the driver of the second-to-last wagon, his face pale with terror, abandons his post and flees towards the safety of the forward wagons. Bandits 1 and 3, having seized control of the rearmost wagon, struggle to turn it around in the narrow pass, their efforts hampered by the panicked horses and the uneven terrain. Seeing their opportunity, 2 of the caravan guards on the flanks take aim with their crossbows. Both fly through the air, one narrowly missing Bandit 1's head, the other striking Bandit 3 in the shoulder. He cries out in pain, his grip on the reins loosening. The bolt that strikes Bandit 3 in the shoulder deals 5 piercing damage. He winces and curses, clutching the wound, but his determination to escape with the wagon remains undeterred. The air crackles with tension as the battle intensifies. You push aside the fear that threatens to paralyze you, your focus narrowing to a single desperate goal: reach the remaining guard before he falls. Round 3. Adrenaline surges through your veins as you weave through the chaos, your boots pounding against the hard-packed earth. You vault over a falling crate, narrowly avoiding a stray scimitar swing. The panicked cries of the caravan drivers and the terrified whinnies of the horses blend with the clash of steel and the snarls of the bandits, creating a symphony of chaos. Your eyes lock onto the lone guard, battling desperately against 2 assailants. He parries a blow, his shield groaning under the force, but his stance falters. Another bandit closes in, scimitar raised for a killing strike. With a burst of speed, you sprint towards the fray, your weapon drawn. The bandits focused on their prey fail to notice your approach. You leap over a fallen guard, your heart pounding in your chest, your breath coming in ragged gasps. Just as the bandit's scimitar descends, you arrive, your presence a sudden shock in the midst of chaos. The fate of the guard, the caravan, and perhaps even the Winter Festival hangs in the balance, suspended in this moment of desperate action. Round 4. The bandits, caught off guard by your sudden arrival, momentarily falter. Their surprise gives you the advantage, a precious opportunity to strike before they can regroup. Bandit 2, wounded and disoriented, presents an easy target. His defenses are weakened and his attention is focused on the guard he's trying to overpower. A swift strike could take him out of the fight, evening the odds. However, Bandit 4 poses a more immediate threat. His flanking position gives him a clear advantage over the guard, who is already struggling to defend himself. If left unchecked, Bandit 4 could deliver a fatal blow, leaving you to face 2 opponents alone. The decision is yours. Do you strike at the weakened Bandit 2, or do you intercept Bandit 4? What will you choose? The fate of the caravan hangs in the balance. You've chosen to strike at the weakened Bandit 2. You shift your grip on your weapon, abandoning the bow or crossbow in favor of your trusty sword. The element of surprise is on your side, and the close quarters of the narrow pass favor a swift and decisive strike. Roll 2d20 because you have advantage due to the surprise attack and take the higher result. Add the character's melee attack bonus. If the total equals or exceeds the Bandit 2 armor class of 12, the attack hits. On a successful hit, roll for damage based on your weapon. Elara is 1d8 plus 1 slashing damage for a longsword. Lysander 1d6 plus 3 slashing damage for a short sword. May your blade find its mark and bring justice to this bandit. Bandit 4, seeking an opportunity to finish off the guard, lunges forward with a vicious snarl. His scimitar flashes in the fading light, aimed at the guard's exposed side. The guard cries out as the scimitar slices through his defenses, leaving a deep gash in his side. He stumbles, his grip on his sword weakening. He is clearly in dire straits. If your attack on Bandit 2 succeeds, he crumbles to the ground, his lifeblood staining the snow crimson. One bandit down, one to go. Otherwise, both bandits will attack you. Bandit 4, seeing his comrade attacked, roars in fury. He abandons his attack on the fallen guard and turns his attention to you, his scimitar a whirlwind of deadly intent. "You'll pay for that, you meddling whelp," he snarls, spitting a mouthful of curses. He lunges forward, his attack a flurry of blows aimed at your head and torso. You raise your sword in defense, parrying his strikes with a series of sharp clangs. The clash of steel echoes through the narrow pass, a deadly dance under the fading light. The battle is far from over, but the tide seems to be turning. Now it's a test of skill, endurance, and determination. Let the duel commence. Continue to round 5. You choose to intercept Bandit 4. Seeing the immediate danger to the guard, you launch towards Bandit 4, your sword aimed at his exposed back. He is so focused on finishing off the guard that he doesn't notice your approach until it's too late. Roll 2d20 due to a surprise attack, and take the high result. Add your character's melee bonus. If the total equals or exceeds Bandit 4's armor class for 12, the attack hits. On a successful hit, roll for damage based on your weapon. Elara is 1d8 plus 1 slashing damage due to longsword. Lysander is 1d6 plus 3 slashing damage because he's using a short sword. Let's see if you can save the guard and turn the tide of this fight. Continue to round 5. Round 5. Bandit 2 and 4 attacks. Roll a d20 for these attacks and add a plus 3 attack bonus and see if he hits your character's armor class, which is a 16 for Elara and 15 for Lysander. If they hit, roll 1d6 plus 2 slashing damage. The guard attacks if he is alive. Roll a d20 for his attack, add plus 3 attack bonus. If he hits armor class 12, roll 2d6 plus 2 slashing damage. He starts with 6 hit points remaining. Your attacks. Roll a d20 for your attack, add plus 5 attack bonus, and see if you hit Bandit 4 or 2, depending on your choice. He has an armor class 12. If you hit, roll for damage. Continue this until all bandits are defeated or you fall. May the best warrior prevail. The end of combat. With Bandit 4 and 2 dispatched, a surge of adrenaline and relief washes over you, but the battle is far from over. Your gaze sweeps across the chaotic scene, assessing the situation. The 2 remaining bandits, having successfully turned the stolen wagon, attempt to flee through the narrow pass. However, their escape is hampered by the pursuing caravan guards. 2 guards maintain a steady barrage of crossbow bolts, peppering the fleeing wagon with projectiles. One bolt strikes a bandit in the leg, causing him to cry out in pain. Another shatters the wagon's lantern, plunging the escapees into partial darkness. Meanwhile, the other guards close in, their swords drawn and their faces grim. They swarm the wagon, engaging the bandits in a fierce melee. The narrow pass becomes a whirlwind of steel and fury, the clash of swords echoing off the rocky walls. Despite their initial success, the bandits are overwhelmed. One bandit falls with a cry, his chest pierced by a guard's blade. The other, cornered and wounded, attempts to fight on, but he is quickly subdued and disarmed. The remaining guards secure the stolen wagon and its valuable cargo. They tend to their wounded comrades, their faces edged with relief and gratitude. The caravan, though shaken, is safe. The winter festival supplies will reach the village, thanks to your bravery and the courage of the caravan guards. Torwin approaches you, his expression a mixture of admiration and gratitude. You saved our hides back there, he says, clapping you on the shoulder. Grimbold was right to send you. You're a true hero. He gestures towards the captured bandits. We'll take these scoundrels back to the village and let Grimbold deal with them. They'll face justice for their crimes. The caravan resumes its journey, the narrow pass fading into the distance. The threat of the bandits has been neutralized, but the encounter serves as a stark reminder of the dangers that lurk in the shadows. The whispers of the Great Winter, the presence of the Order of the Celestial Compass, and the search for the amulet still weigh heavily on your mind. The road ahead remains uncertain, but you face it with renewed determination, your resolve strengthened by the knowledge that you have protected the innocent and upheld your duty as a guardian of the village.